Okay, so I'm gonna post this to YouTube for people that are watching this after the fact. This meeting is to plan out the version 2 of the OneLeaf website, so that way we can start getting design and development done for it. So,
Zach will be right back, by the way.
okay,
Just in case.
I'm just gonna walk through what we have on the HackMD for now. Um, so the main problem that we were trying to solve with the website was just getting some level of awareness and helping people onboard better. And what I mean by onboarding is twofold. Getting people to understand. The first point is just getting people to understand what OneLeaf is and what all we can do for them, and the second point is to get people interacting with inside the organization, whether it's getting them working on projects, getting them just communicating and talking to the other members, or looking for some sort of role in the organization. Um, so the ways we've determined to solve those, the home and the landing page that holds like information about OneLeaf will solve the first problem, just getting people to understand what we are. Then forgetting people to interact. Um, Having them understand what all we could do for them is a good first step, and then getting them onto a project is a next great step. Um, so the pages that we were thinking about. Um, are the profile, which would hold when we originally talked about it, it would have like 4 tabs. It would hold like your account information, whatever you want to be public, like a bio or a resume or whatnot. We'd have some sort of tab with metrics, right? So like either your GitHub contributions or the number of times that you've posted, those type of things. I'm trying to remember what the other two are. We have some notes written down for brainstorming as well as the roadmap that we were thinking about. Um,
Could we start out with like a more simple profile and then expand on that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the profile to start out should probably just be like a a picture of them, whatever they put in, and then I don't know, like a bio or something like that. That would probably
And then
be
like useful links.
yeah, 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 yeah.
This is just show their social information.
Yep. Hi,
I
Arcus
think
and Daniel.
Hey everyone.
we just started.
Yep, you didn't miss
Talking.
much. So we're just going over what we the problems that we're trying to solve, and now we're going to start talking through each of the pages and what those pages will hold. So the pages that we're starting out with is the profile. Okay, so we had account info, metrics, image bio, and links. I feel like I had more written down for this.
We did want a resume at one point. Um,
Either
Just the
like
ability to put your resume.
either to
It might help before we lay down the requirements to understand what the profile would be used for. So the use cases and the organizational objective of having people create profiles. And that way then we can then decide which one
Yeah.
to prioritize and then create requirements for.
I feel like this meeting, since we have a lot with version 2, we should really just go over high level. It's good to brainstorm, throw out ideas, but we don't really need to outline everything the profile needs to do right now,
that's fair.
except like Fardeen said, lay out the use case and what we're trying to solve with it.
So the point of a profile is to have them make an account so that they can make posts and create projects. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zach/Susie.
Also, the point is to be so we were going to use it like contain. Sorry. So we were gonna have like tags on it, some information about that person, so we could search the website and be able to like look for a certain person that's like an expertise in UX, as like someone who is more familiar with backend.
Yep, good point. I forgot about that.
So participation and skill matching. Is there anything else?
Mm,
It's really just
so for projects, knowing who's on a project and being able to contact them, like, oh, you lead this project, and being a way to find them and connect with them.
It's really like the first step in creating a community. Uh, yeah, like a limited social media.
Will they be showcasing anything?
Uh, so we discussed at one point, like having portfolios there, linking to what they've worked on. I'd say it should display all of their posts, like not display, but like in full, but like a high level overview of things they've posted, projects they've worked on, and then also their GitHub. We were talking about showing metrics. If there's ever like recruiters going through, it's always good to see how active someone is outside of work. So having their metrics contained there would also be a goal sometime down the line.
Super high level, we have participation within the organization and on the website itself, peer-to-peer skill matching, but also discussions from the sounds of it, and community interaction. And the last one is um, uh, a comprehensive showcase of external and internal um, skill sets and achievements and
Yep.
experience. So out of the three, at least to me, and this is more of a question to the rest of the team, but to me, out of those three, the highest priority seems to be the participation one. So getting them to be able to sign up for projects, create projects, um, and then to do anything within the realm of projects and participating within the community. And then from there, the rest kind of sort into priority as well. But that seems to be the highest requirement
So,
going forward, to me at least. I don't know about everyone else.
so that's really if we have it. Like when you say sign up for projects, like do you mean like actively like through the website sign up or like show that they've
But
worked on projects?
I meant like at a higher, like at the highest level of what we're expecting profiles to be useful for. It doesn't seem like finding other people or talking with them and linking other sources of information to the one leaf profile. Those two don't seem to be as important
Correct.
um, in terms of a what we want to achieve, b what makes sense for the product roadmap with the website, and c what is useful to the user themselves. So out of the three things we've discussed, the first one, which is interacting in the realm of that project side of things, and whatever else is an extension of that, seems to be the case for me at least.
I am sharing my screen, by the way, if you guys want to watch the notes that we're taking.
It doesn't just have to be projects; it could be anything else that I don't know is in the same realm. It's just projects are the only thing that we have right now, so that's what I'm counting as participation.
I would agree that that's the highest priority is community interaction, which a subset of that would be getting them on projects. So with that in mind, how that relates to the profile though,
That's
um,
what confuses me.
yeah, some way to say
Uh,
like a link to or some UI to show what projects they're on, or for them to be able to add a
I
project.
think if everyone else, I guess everyone else on the team agrees that that is the priority, and if we have sort of like a majority vote on it, then the next step would be to scope the profile and what information is required based on that aspect and that use case.
Um, if that were the case, it would be account info, their image and bio, just so you have an idea of what they're doing, and then show their posts and projects would be the highest priority.
Uh, I would say that's for me like posts and projects. Projects, yes,
Posts maybe not,
even though
yeah.
Posts would be a lower priority at this point because that we also have to talk about like the parallel of allowing users to create posts that also includes search functionality. Like, so if we're going like incrementally version 2, then showing their posts would be a later feature. Showing projects, if we allowed them to do that manually and manually add the projects, I know we discussed because with the GitHub API, we're able to pull off all users that have contributed to the project. So if they have their GitHub connected to their oneleif account, we'd be able to show the projects they've worked on through that, if that makes sense. If we manually have them enter that or manually add themselves to projects, then we could show it that way. If that all makes sense.
Could we do
I
it both
prefer-
ways?
So the better way would be through GitHub because it would be the most automated. We could have them do it both ways, especially we kind of need that, I guess, if they don't connect to GitHub. And especially if you're a UX designer. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because the manually seems to be the more basic and more accessible version of what you're describing. And then if we can move on to process automation with the GitHub linking, then yeah.
Okay, just making clear. So highest priority projects, yeah, for sure. Also, we already have those pages done, so that's cool. And then maybe like V3 or something is really focusing on those posts. But for now, like with profile setup and stuff, we really want to make it easy for people to find people who are working on other projects. And yeah, that's basically all I'd say.
Maybe what might be useful is to on the okay, so this wouldn't on their profile and on the active project. Like if we go like we have the active projects page, which shows the list of them, right? But like once you click on one of them, it will actually put you like inside the specific projects page. On both your profile and that page, show who the project owners or project managers of those websites are, so that way people know who to contact.
Yep.
Yep, write that down somewhere because I'm designing that.
On
Quick question. So those profiles, they're searchable, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
They will be at some point.
Okay.
So if we're gonna go like discuss priority or like what we're gonna be working on, I think we should discuss how all this will be possible, and that's with the use of authentication. So we're gonna need. We're already working on like the login register pages. We'll need to handle also like forgot password, like everything that comes in with authentication, and we'll need the privacy policy and terms of services because we'll need to display a cookie modal because we will be handling cookies. That was a lot.
By cookie modal, you mean like, do you accept that we use cookies?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll have to handle the functionality based off how they accept that.
Is that standard to the browser or is that something we have to design?
We have to design that. Or
We have to design that.
what do you mean standard to browser? Like, is that like a Chrome thing or a Firefox thing?
I was just trying to figure out if there's like a standard messaging that's like used everywhere. I just am not super familiar with it.
So like we could
Um,
create, we have to
there
Or if
create.
it's
is.
something we design.
There's definitely a standard.
There-
But we'd want to
Sorry.
design. We'd want to
There's there's guidelines or mandates. There's no standard, I think, across the web. Everyone creates their own types, and then
there's templates that you can follow, but ultimately it's up to us to make it.
because that needs to be implemented before or at the same time as our authentication because that's really the only thing we use cookies with.
Are we actually using cookies?
We'll be storing like their information just like in the window and stuff. So like it's gonna be really basic like functionality with it, but we just have to have it.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like we have the features ordered in priority on the user or on the profile. Okay, this wasn't in here originally. I added active projects. Since we already have the active projects page, we should probably talk about like when you click on an active projects and go to its page, what all it should include. So list of
We're
members,
calling that the detail view, just FYI.
detail view.
Yeah, project. And can we call it projects instead of active projects?
Yep. So a list of the members working on it, a description of the projects, a link to their
GitHub.
to the code and to the designs. Right. So if you have like a Figma.
Yeah, and I guess also if they're looking for certain people, then having a section for that.
Yeah, that would be the list of members working on it.
We could have difficulty level of project, or like notify if it's friendly for beginners.
I'm gonna put that on the bottom because we hadn't decided on.
Yeah, I'm just
But
throwing out ideas.
But yeah, we might as well have that as a note. So yeah, top 3 priorities are definitely the list of members working on it, the description, and the link to the code and the designs. Actually, tags is up there as well. But yeah, image if applicable.
I think one of you guys said this as we were talking, but like maybe some sort of, this might be like V3, V4. Like, hey, we're looking for designers, blah blah, blah, so join us. That might be wanted in the future. Depending how
Almost.
big.
You know what would be cool? Like an ability to have posts on the page itself, so you could post like releases or updates to the project, or those type of things. Looking for designers, or maybe that would just be a tag for looking for designers.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to project how much time people are going to spend on a specific page, and if I were to, I don't think there's an optimistic projection. I think it'll be a matter of like seconds to minutes.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And if there's like a post feed, I don't know if that's worthwhile, because if they're there just for pertinent information, they're not gonna bother.
Yeah, I'd say it's tags because, or I guess, are you saying it's a tag like because someone would search like look like work for UX?
Yeah. They'd search the tag like looking for designer or something like that. Any other ideas for the detail view of content that it would need to have? Let me go.
No, I think image, people to contact, description, important links.
Yeah. I
Yep.
guess it'd be up to the design team to then look at that and see what we can do with each section.
We can always come back to these and discuss if we come up with other ideas.
Okay. Okay, so search functionality on the meet the team and active projects. So let's do meet the team.
So are these going to be an overall search function, or am I going to go to the teams page and it only shows users?
Both, I would assume. Like you'd want
I
page.
think we
Go ahead.
I think we originally saw this as like a way to filter through members.
Oh yeah, the original design was like an actual like filter box. Like if you're on Amazon, right? You like look up like I don't know RAM or whatever. It would give you like the different sizes of RAM or whatnot that you could filter down on the specific page itself.
Yep.
Are you talking about the filtering system on PC Part Picker?
Hold on, I'll pull it up so we can look at the same thing. Like I don't know if I go to.
Should we just, for now, just like say search functionality, and like have another, because that seems like a large discussion we'll need to have.
For filtering.
Yeah, for like how we'll want to handle that.
Yeah, that's similar.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we can put everything in the search bar for now and worry about filtering later. Because if we put everything in the search bar, it'll still work. It just won't have like page level filtering. Or it still will have page level filtering, but like, yeah, okay. So for meet the team, we want to be able to search by tags, like And I guess like your majority gonna be able to. Your majority want to. Okay, my English is not working. You're going to want to search by tags, and that could be like the platform that they're using, the language that they're using, or like what roles they need help in.
Is this for the core team?
Wait, I was thinking projects. I'm sorry, my bad. Ignore me. Platform and language, or
Yeah.
Is this for the core team?
for Meet the
This
Team in general, but Meet the Team was
So
just the core team to start.
so we're gonna also for Meet the Team, we'll have to have set up the functionality of when someone creates an account, they get added to the Meet the Team view, so they get added to the back end.
I don't know if tags would be required. Technically, you could just use headings and divvy up the team into developers, designers, and other categories, and then just put people with a uh, short bio. But tags might get iffy if there's no consistency in how we order them, and if people decide to tag on like a bajillion things.
We were gonna limit the amount of tags shown to like 2 or 3.
But then how do you prioritize which 2 or 3 to show?
That was something we needed to discuss.
Uh,
We could have it like the MySpace top friends type thing.
I also
Uh,
don't know if search is technically required because a core team is pretty small and you could fit everyone in
So
1.5 frames.
this is for version 2.
Every
So the
time
idea,
somebody makes an account, they get added to that Meet the Team page automatically.
yeah. So yeah,
That's gonna be funky. Especially once you have like hundreds of accounts, it's gonna be
that's when we'd have to like based off.
yeah.
how
I
many
think
users, we have to
maybe
affect the functionality.
it's the wording that's getting me because at that point I would think of that grouping to be more so like meet the organization rather than or meet community members. I wouldn't necessarily think of it as a team.
That's fair. The wording could be changed.
Yeah, maybe it's that instead. um I might be alone in this, so feel free to
We could
uh
we could we could keep track of contribution level and filter based off that and show the people who contribute the most. Make it a
Yeah,
game.
but then you have designers.
Well, yeah,
How
we can
you how are you gonna do that with designers?
it also creates an unintended effect of putting beginners at the bottom.
True.
And by
How
beginners,
about
you mean you could have like a.
sections then?
Sorry, go ahead.
So how about 2 sections? One for like core team on the top, and then rest of the community with the search. Like the core team doesn't need the search for because we are like group of I don't know how many people. Let's say 10, maybe 15.
The only problem I
Wow.
have with that is that, like, while we do have a core team currently, in the future, I don't know if we're even going to have one, right? Because, we don't really want to. Like, everybody is on the same level in the organization, right? We don't really have, like.
Even if it isn't us, right? And even if it isn't the current core team, you still have the moderators, the PR people, more community managers potentially, right? There's still
That's fair.
Yeah,
internal staff roles that the rest of the organization isn't connected to, even if they can technically become them.
I mean, yeah, you guys run it, so like you should be like in view to be contacted and all, you know.
Yeah, and I think there needs to be that separation between the community at large and whoever is in the organizational team. I do like the suggestion of having potentially 2 sections. The problem is that even if you still have the community section, it scales with the number of accounts. And if you were to display every single account, it's a massive amount. It's not
What
a
if we?
problem in the short term, but it'll definitely become a problem if we don't design for it properly.
I mean, what if we handled it like how LinkedIn does, where like it shows you like I can go to my college's profile and I can see all alumni.
Right, but then now you're doing it in a list format with maybe 10 to 12 entries at the most, and with
Well, I mean,
numerous pages, right?
Yeah, that ours would be pagination. Like it wouldn't be just show everything scroll. It'd like be paginating. It'd be like a random like.
If that's the case, I would definitely separate meet the team and community, because they're not necessarily presenting the same information. Um, like you said, Will, right? You want to know who's in the team because you want to see who's working behind the scenes um, for the organization, and who to contact, and who would act as a point of reference. Whereas with the community at large, it's I would imagine the use case to be more so to look up a peer, or to see who's part of a project, or to look at how many designers there are in this community, or what languages are used, for example.
I do think you're right. It would be like meet the staff, or meet the team, and then being able to search through the rest of the organization.
Yeah, so they shouldn't be anywhere close to each other um, on on a navigational scale. Like this should be independent.
What if it changes versus someone being signed in versus not being signed in? So if you're signed in, you can. I'm getting a head shake. um, sorry. If you're signed in, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Like how Discord handles it.
No, I think that we could put the organization, like the people for the organization and all that, in about us, and like extend that. And if they scroll down, find out about who runs the organization, and maybe link how to contact us or whatever like that. But the meet the team, which we should call meet the community, I really think like that should just be kind of highlighting everyone. That's kind of why we're making the website. I mean, we're making the website to extend to other people and to get other people onboarded and all this, but we're also doing it to be a platform for people and to highlight people's work and everything like that. So I don't know like what the issue is if we show everyone that's joined. If we sort it by most recently joined, or sorting like that, that's a whole different topic. But it's just if we should, I guess we
That's
should
kind
talk
of.
about it.
I feel like that's solves, or like what Fardine was talking about, where it's a different navigation thing. If we keep like the roots on the About Us page, and then you're able to filter through the community.
Yeah, as Will mentioned, it wasn't so much that it was an issue with the concept itself. It was more so that they shouldn't be on the same page, or they shouldn't live on the same page.
And that was a good point I wanted to bring this up. Are we going to have an About Us page?
We should, and this is a good case to make for it, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we should.
I think we should, because I would imagine once they're logged in, their like homepage that they're redirected to would be more of like maybe like active stuff, and that's a whole different topic. And what's the homepage when they're logged out versus logged in. But yeah, I think we should have About Us. The only question I have is that we'll obviously have accounts as roots on the website, so we'll show up on the community. So we will be in two places, I guess, which is kind of weird. But I assume the About Us will be more of like personal, or like just specifically about the community and organization versus, or I mean the organization, and the other one will just be our like personal profile.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Then that makes sense.
You guys are a part of the community also, and I think having you in both spots would really relay that message.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and on the
everyone.
I was gonna say on the community page, you can have like a call to action or something if they need to contact like someone from the staff, and that could lead to like the About Us page.
You could even also put in a join call to action there.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about this. like when you are not signed in and you are watching the community members, like you have like button join us or something like that.
Yeah, Daniel brought up a good point. It's more room for call to actions.
Okay, so
Since oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna bring up another topic, but if you're back on this,
No, I was gonna bring up another topic as well. Go ahead.
or were you gonna bring up the post page?
I was gonna make sure we were done a search.
All right, let's go to that.
It basically just search by tags or name or post or I don't know what else. Because this is like the whole site functionality, right? Oh, or I guess this is on the pages themselves.
Search functionality with posts would be post titles and content also.
Does the search bar it lives in the nav, right? The global nav.
It should.
Yep.
Okay. Do we need a search results page, or are we just going to rely on like suggestions in like the drop down or whatever?
I personally think a results page would be better, just because of the extensive variation in how we're planning one can search with, like with tags, with users, and so on. The results page, coupled with what Sabian wanted with filtering, would be the best way to go about it, in my opinion. But it could also work down. It could also work with a drop down.
I would imagine a results page, but I don't know if that's for this conversation because that's more getting to the design of it.
I mean, we can say the results page. Yes, we would like that. I guess to go back, because we're already not discussing anymore, but the profile, we're gonna have to create some like administration stuff so people can edit their profiles. Or will that just be like in page view? Like they click an edit button and can edit that stuff.
I assume it would be like
GitHubs.
yeah, GitHub's where you go to your profile, and there's just like an edit profile button.
Okay. Can you just write that down so we remember
Yep.
that?
I think one thing to be careful of is how close we get to something like GitHub.
Yep.
Because that's always like the influence is always apparent, it seems, and the more we stray towards GitHub and functionality and design, it's gonna become harder to justify the need for like another GitHub clone, even if we're not one. So whenever we think about these things, I think it's important to think about, yes, GitHub exists, and yes, we could use this as a point of reference, but how else do we differentiate beyond that, and how can we bring those aspects more into the light?
That's fair. I agree. Okay, hold on. Let's okay, so we finished up on the profile. We talked about projects, the search functionality for each one of the pages, meet the community, the about us. So posts.
Yep.
All right, so post is obviously going to have a title, probably a short like sub description or something like that for like a preview. Oh, sorry. Date and time, author, and then like ability to edit with Markdown and tags. Yeah.
So the title and subdescription, everything of that will be separate from the markdown, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Um. So will that. Okay.
And I assume the actual creating of a post will either be in the global nav or on your user, or on the post page. I guess that would actually make more sense.
Just like have a new post.
Yeah.
Or should we have like an action button in the nav bar once they're logged in? Oh, that nav bar is actually getting kind of full, so never mind.
The call to action on the post page would be to, if you're not logged in, to create an account or to create a post, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we get comments on the post as well?
Mm,
Not to start, but
yeah,
I don't mind
'cause
it in the future.
that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
If
Could just have posts be able to tag other posts, because then you could just post and that would be a comment.
That's fair. I think comments
Twitter?
/ likes would be a valuable metric for us, like organizing like the featured. Like when you click on when you just go to the post page and we sort them by like either new or what's like the most viewed or whatnot.
I was gonna ask, what's the main use case for posts?
So,
oh, sorry.
oh, you're fine. So use case or like the point of having it in general, like. So for use case, it would be like, if Susie created some like beautiful design, she could post on it, or if I came up with a clever coding solution, I could post that. We could post updates to a project. But like the point of it is to get community engagement, right?
Got it. Okay, so microblogging. I wasn't sure if it's like blogging or is it like forum type post and comments.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Got
Said
it.
no comments yet.
Yeah, comments will probably be like Susie wrote v3. Okay. Anybody have any points to talk about on any of the other pages or something that I've missed?
I think we should have some analytics so we can see where people are coming from. Me and Fardine were talking about that. Some Google Analytics or something.
So checking where the traffic's coming from, checking which pages are most viewed, check what pages are used the longest. Those type of analytics.
Whatever we can get to be making data-driven decisions.
Okay. So we talked about
Did
each
you
of the.
listen to About Us page? Oh yeah, you did.
Yep.
Okay.
After that, we have ideas for tons of other stuff that we could add, but I think we probably have plenty for just V2 already.
Yeah, I think now we should discuss. I personally think we shouldn't do the same release like we're doing for V1, where we just put out the whole major release.
Yeah, it'll be
We should be
incremental.
doing incrementals, and
Yeah.
we should lay out kind of
What's
the
required for us to be able
priority.
to release?
Yeah, and what we can release parallel. What's the would be smartest to put out?
Yeah. For example, if we start doing authentication, but we don't have any of the user data stored, like they create an account and then it's not useful in the future because the data
Yeah.
changes. We forgot to talk about. Oh man, it was off. What was I just? Oh, the proposals. Like how to make a proposal, like a project proposal. Because that was one of the things that we wanted to solve, was having it more automated, right?
Yeah. So
So
would that just be creating a project or proposing? Because proposing makes it sound like they have to go through
an approval process.
an approval process, and if you're trying to automate it, you're still going to have to go through that process.
Yeah. That's a really good question. Because like at some point we want to have some degree of like all of the OneLeaf projects have like some sort of wiki or documentation and some sort of ticketing, so that way people know what they can work on. And there's like some degree of structure that we can basically say all of our projects, kind of fit this scheme, so that if you want to go from one project to another, it's not that difficult, right? But at the same time, I agree that we don't want to have to like manually review everyone. So I'm open to suggestions.
I guess we could have a project creation and then take them like through steps or like list steps that they should have for creating that project, just like so they know what the standard is.
Yeah. So like steps to create would be like create a
Yeah, it could be a guided checklist.
yeah.
Yeah, I could see it as like a form almost, but like how you get there would be a button hidden if you're logged in, and once you're logged in, you can see it on that page. Just making sure that it's a member doing it.
There's quite a few services that do a good job. Typically, you see this with a lot of SaaS products, but they have something like, "Oh, you're 80% done completing your profile, and this is what's left." Kind of like those checklists with the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, we could like require them to put links for the repo and the wiki, and then like have regex to check that they actually like it's a valid wiki.
That could get real complicated, but I like it for the long term.
Uh, not really on the front end.
Should that all be required if it's coming from someone? I mean,
Well, the thing is about like the I guess it could be required, but if they just put in a BS URL, like then that would work too. Unless we have regex that just checks that like it's a GitHub wiki with their project name, and then that would like if we're able to outline it like that, that would be a huge help.
Yeah, right now we are talking about when someone has already an idea for a project or started developing or something like that. What if someone has idea for a project and wants to get some opinion or gather team for doing that?
Exactly.
So we still require like a wiki and a repo to be made, even if they thought of the idea. I mean, they can definitely brainstorm, like reach out and communicate, and see if it's a good idea or something. But if they're trying to like create a project with just the idea, it's not like we don't require like code to be pushed to the repo, but they have a GitHub repo set up. They have uh, a wiki that explains what their idea is. Doesn't need to be in depth, but just something.
Susie did have a good point of what if they're a designer and like their project has nothing to do with code.
Oh,
I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but
I think at that point, I mean, we just ask the equivalent of it has
a Figma.
wiki, it has scope, it has, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously that's a lot more concrete than code if they have full design and it's a full, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you just have a wiki and some code that works, then we always need to get design. And so I mean, I can see it working both ways. It's just, we need to, it's easy for us to talk about it and mean like, they need a wiki, they need a repo, they need, blah, 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 contribution. But for designs, I don't know.
I feel like
yeah.
you should have like an
I think we're
MVP.
being too biased.
Yeah, so I'm thinking for like designers or someone who's new to development, comes from a different kind of background. I would say some sort of MVP, some sort of description of the project, saying, "Hey, this is what I'm set out to do. Hey, here's some wireframes I've made. And right now I just need people to develop this for me," or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think the goal of this is to not have Sabian, I, and whoever else pay so much attention to this and, try to help new people that might want to get a project going. And we focus on helping them and get the, understanding what they have to do and all that. this would allow them to create it, and for people in the community to jump on, help them, and help them learn or anything like that, instead of requiring them to do certain steps and everything. Obviously, they'd have to do some things, but they could at least create it faster and potentially get help from other people instead of us kind of like, all right, now you need to do this instead, or after you get this wiki and all that.
We could have it where they can select like what type of, like if you're a developer or a designer creating a project, and then have different options for them to fill out based off that. But
That's-
then we'd also be trying to handle all use cases, so that wouldn't, we need one generic way.
I think one of the other ways you guys can vet projects is maybe if you require that they include like a team member or something, so that way it offloads some of the vetting to like the actual conversation in the community.
What if they like can't find team members though? Like, what if they come to the table with an idea and say, "This is what I want to do," but they don't have a team yet? Like, how do we help them find that team without having to get involved manually?
I mean, that means it just needs more iteration in the like
Here's a
just
question.
discussion, right? Like,
That's fair.
Here's a question. Are people within the community going to be looking more at the website or the Discord? Because I feel like, for example, if you're trying to figure out a project and you don't have team members, I feel like you'll get team members easier in the Discord than just like a random person who happens to be on the website and sees that, hey, you've got an idea for a project.
So
Like, how much are you going to move from the Discord into the website?
So the plan was that the Discord would still be used for all communication. It would just be that the website is a platform that allows us to communicate better.
yeah, I think it was like the idea was to move most of oneleif to the website, but use Discord as a communication tool, since like we don't want the whole organization just to be built off Discord. But do you guys have anything else in mind? I guess I don't know.
Another question. Right now, for a project, we have to put in a proposal source, correct? Like in the Discord, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Then I would assume for if you're gonna put it on the website, they'd have to go through something similar as well. So I think you'd have to limit it to how much do they have to do right now using Discord, and sort of make it proportional when they're on the website. Because right now, there isn't really much that's done, is there?
Nope.
Once there's a
Yeah,
proposal.
my question is, what project would you guys say no to?
What project would what?
They say no to. Like, what would stop you guys from supporting a project?
No.
Well, that's the thing. Are you supporting a project or are you just showcasing projects? Because there's a difference.
I think the idea of this is to support, like, more than showcase.
Yeah, I imagine it more as hosting the project,
Yeah.
like showing it, like I guess hosting and supporting it, allowing them to have a channel right now is the way that try to get other people in the community in it, and that's how we like give a little highlight out to them. But for this, like right now, the reason we have the proposal is just so we don't have any projects that are just put out on there and then fizzle out in a few weeks or anything. We know the person's more serious about it. We've had that. We've had a few projects that had proposals and then the person's like, oh, never mind. And if we just let everyone create a project right now, we give them a text channel, put them in community projects. It's really manual process right now. I don't know if we'll have text channels for every single project when we open it up to the website, but ideally it would be easier to have people create any project and kind of have it as like, let's say I use GitHub, and I hate to use the example of GitHub because we don't want to always say that, but even with Bitbucket or anything like that, if I have my project anywhere or if I have my project in Dribble, like just allowing someone to create the project as like, I guess I don't want to say active project or anything like that, because that's a weird term on its own now that we're letting everyone create projects. But I think we should allow that opportunity, because that's where we can just get people that I'll never talk to or will never talk to working on projects that, they find, even if they find the people in Discord or if they find the people on the website. We'll have people looking at the website more, and we'll have people looking at Discord more, because there's different use cases. Some people join the Discord and I swear they join it on a web client or they block all notifications. And I think they would look at the website more on their own time, and they could potentially get more valuable information instead of going to the Discord, looking at all these text channels like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of notifications sometimes. And if you just go on the website, maybe you find, the most recent projects or the most recently created ones. And if you're logged in, you have tags, then you automatically like see all those. So that's kind of my long ramble of active projects and letting people potentially create them, and what we're doing right now.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Something to
But
solve.
one question.
Oh,
Sorry. Go on.
you,
No, I was gonna ask, like, right now, like you said, we sort of try to combat the whole projects fizzling out thing. We want to do that as well on the website.
yeah. So a solution we could have for that is storing statuses on the projects, like active, inactive, complete. And once a project has sat for a certain amount of time, where we can't contact the owner of it or nobody's been working on it, we could set it to inactive. And then whenever someone, if they ever wanted to come back and work on it again, or someone else wanted to open it up and contribute to it, we could then put the status to active again. Then they could also filter, like when searching for a project, looking for active projects.
I also like the
But how
idea.
would we know that's when it's inactive? Like, considering you don't want to go through every single project and figure out, hey, when was the last contribution? Plus, there are certain projects where, well, like it's not GitHub like where you can't pull out when the contributions were made.
If we can watch some sort of metrics, if we can figure out some way to automate it, that'd be nice. But that's something I'd have to sit and think on, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the first step will be getting it. Like I said, I don't like active projects. I like community projects. It's more getting it on the community and more on the user. Like if one user has 5 inactive projects, you see, it's that user, that's running or part of that or anything like that. I mean, obviously we don't want that, but it's not that we have, 5 inactive channels in the Discord taking up, and just adding space. But for actually knowing if it's active or inactive, I mean, how much or what information flow do we want to come through the project? If we're hooked up to GitHub or whatever, how do we know? Like, that's easy. Or, I mean, do we show a progress meter of like the tickets or anything like that? Of, it's almost done, or it's complete, or it's just started, it's in planning. I think that might be a separate topic on its own for active projects, because I don't even like the name active projects anymore. I like community projects, or kind of like, well, like active projects just means that literally all of these that are on this list are actively worked at this moment. And if they're not, then I mean, we're lying about the name and misleading at the very beginning.
At the bottom of this, I've been working on some Sabian left. Some like requirements for a project to be accepted, and like reasons why a project won't be accepted. And I'm trying to keep in my mind like, okay, if I'm not a developer, how can I get a project out there? So the requirements I wrote down here are description, a plan or some sort of like MVP, some sort of work put into this, and now this could be development, designs, or even just like research if they're really just don't come from any sort of tech background, or if that's or if research really is their thing. And then any sort of applicable links for that project. I can go into what's not accepted as well, which would be a project without a clear description or plan, project without any sort of work being put into it, anything deemed inappropriate or not not representative of oneleif and our like goals and missions. And then the last one is just any projects whose like sole purpose is to like make a profit.
See, even with that, I think it gets a little iffy because you have to sort through things. Somebody has to look and make sure, hey, this project matches up with our goal, or this project isn't
I mean, the
inappropriate.
type of website we're creating, like, this is something that has to be maintained and moderated. It's not like we're putting up a bunch of static pages and we can walk away and come back and it'll be doing great. So we have to really define how much work we want to do besides development, I guess.
True. Good
Which
point.
I wouldn't put that responsibility on anybody who didn't want it, you know. So it's really what everybody would be willing to do.
I agree. I think project exception should be something that we moderate. Just making sure that yes, this fits in with our goals and what we are, because we don't want to accidentally get something improved and then turns out it doesn't match what we're going for at all.
See, I think. Sorry, go on.
I was going to talk about something else, but so go.
No, I was just sort of trying to wrap up with this. If we do moderate project proposals, in a sense, we might end up with less projects, but I feel like we'll end up with projects that people actually value a little more in the sense that they're actually working on those projects. Because if you're willing to go through the process, you're willing to work on this thing. It's not just you came up with an idea, oh, that'd be nice to have a project like that, and you create a project and then you leave. And I think that might be best as opposed to having it not moderated where you submit a project and you start a project and you can do whatever you want. Because you're gonna end up with a bunch of projects and it's gonna be difficult to filter through because you're not gonna know. Well, I guess we do have the active and not active, even though Zach doesn't like that. But at the same time, it's sort of necessary because you don't want people going through and then finding a project they like only to find out that, hey, nobody's touched this thing in like years, right? And so I think we should go with a moderated approach.
Yeah, I like that. I wouldn't mind automated in such a way that, you know, any of us or anyone who could approve a project could log on and just kind of see a queue of proposals, and it has in a way that they have to add information. They can't just put like project name and then like a little short description and have that as a proposal. As you can see in the proposals channel, they actually have to supply like the Dribble or the GitHub or anything like that.
So
idea for you guys.
If we're gonna moderate, then that tells me that, like, from a user authorization standpoint, we should have admin as one of the
roles.
And then at the same time, we create a project creation page. We should have a proposal approval page for admin to go through, and they can like either deny, pretty much request changes or accept, and then leave, like, put a message to say like, hey, you need to add this.
Yeah. Another idea for you guys for the statuses. Sorry to, I'll keep that in mind. I just have this idea. For statuses, maybe like we do like similar to how we do for the weekly stream. We have like a stand up of all the active projects, and like after 2 or 3 weeks, they're marked as inactive if they don't post something. I don't know where that post would be, either in the Discord or in the website itself, but some way to basically weekly check in and make sure that they're still getting things done.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, like make sure that they post some updates, or even maybe with these posts. I'm not sure how they work, but this is also a way. Like check how when was the last time they posted something about this project? If it's like like I cannot make my mind, but
No, that makes sense.
No, yeah, I think I don't want to bike shed on this too long, but I think if maybe like posts had the option to be a post for a project, then we can mark
Tag it, right?
the last time a project had a post or something.
I like
Yeah,
that.
if you include the project name in a tag for a post, well, I
Yeah.
guess
So yeah, but I don't want to stick on that too long because I don't think that's V. Maybe that's like V3 or 4. So let's not bike shot on that too long. I really like that idea though, and some way because I would hate to go on the website and see, like you said, a cool project that I thought people were active at some point and they're not anymore, and we don't want that at all.
So V2, we need to add some more content to the 404 pages. I think it's a good opportunity, like maybe have some more information, maybe some like more detailed links or something, maybe like a giant search bar. But right now, it doesn't fill the page as much.
When would they even find hit a 404 though?
If they type in any URL or something that doesn't match our URL, they get taken to that view.
Okay.
All right, so let's get a priority list and kind of a next steps going.
Yep, I like
Yep.
that. Okay, so if we were talking about how we want to do the builds incrementally, so we need to figure out what can be done in parallel and in what order it needs to be done so that it can be incrementally built. So the pages that we have are profile, the project's detail view. Okay, so about us is something that can be done in parallel, right? It can be done whenever.
Yep.
So I'm gonna break these down into like can be done whenever.
Just call them incremental releases. We can have about us and detailed project view.
And the 404.
Yep.
Okay, and then so then I guess after that we'll kind of need to look at each of the releases, right? Like V2.1, 2.2, or whatever we want to call it.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start out with V2.1, which will be profile.
Well, would it be V 1.1 since we haven't hit 2? Would 2 be at the final release?
I'm
Or
just
would
gonna
it
put
be
something down.
before?
We can figure out the numbering later. Okay, so we have okay, so we're gonna have to do like the tagging and searching all in one, right? Like we're gonna have to do all of the tags, and then search will have to be after that, right? Like search will have to be last because it'll have to have the data to be searched over.
So if you're gonna have tags, those would be on initially the projects, and yeah, right, just the projects at this point, because we would need the authentication to create the users.
So just this is strictly for the front end because like some of this stuff's done, like I guess profile setup. I mean, there might be additions and that stuff, but technically we have tags on the post, so we can start search, and we've talked about that before.
That's
so just keeping that in mind of what will be done or that stuff in the back end and front end. I know we don't have to like specifically put that down for like incremental releases, but we can start on search soon.
Wouldn't project detail view be V1 point? Why do you say V1? It should be V2.
No,
I just put whatever. I don't. We can change the
I
numbers
don't
if you
know
want.
what it would be.
if we want to debate that, that's just leave it. Leave it 1.1.
That doesn't make sense though, because we just had V1. We're on
Exactly. So we're doing
This would be
V.1.1
one,
next.
this would be-
Oh, okay. No, we'll talk after this.
You're gonna get yelled at, Suze.
Okay, but like for everyone to understand clearly, that doesn't make any
Everyone to
sense
understand
either.
clearly, I will look up the major, functional, or minor bug fix, whatever the whole default standard. Does anyone know what the name for that is? I'll look it up and just share that.
Semver. It's Semver.
Semver.
Well, just because we're calling this V2, it may be confusing.
Well, the completion of it would be V2.
Okay. What's more important right now? Which pages are more important right now to implement?
Okay, so meet the community. So right now we have meet the team. That can stay like until we get the auth done, right? And once people set up profile, because then we can move the core team, meet the team to the about us page, right? And then do we have the meet the community instead with everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, so once we have profile setup and profile view, that'll be the first thing we work on, right? Like profile setup, profile view, making sure auth works correctly.
Yeah, so that
So
means that we have
authentication,
login.
profile, and
The login and register will be at the same time. Need to be at the
And
same time.
does
as
that mean that we
profile.
have forgot password, or is forgot password later?
Might as well work on it
if
at
you're
the
gonna
same
have
time.
login, you have to have a forgot
Yeah.
password.
Okay.
But that also means when somebody does log in, what can they do? Like, is there anything they can do?
Not
Because
until we
if you
set up
don't have posts right now,
yeah, the profile view. So being able to edit their profile is what they'll be able to do right off the bat.
okay.
And then after that, it will be search posts, meet the community.
Damn, just put post there that easily.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's easy in the
I
background.
think we should save posts for last.
I feel like we need to, rather than ease of creation, like priority at this point. Like, what do we need
Yeah.
for the website? Posts, I would say, are not a high priority
Compared to projects.
So
compared to projects, compared to user profiles.
I say the profile would be the highest priority right now because when you get the profile, you can get everybody who's contributing, like everyone who. What did you say we're gonna call the page? Not meet the team, meet the what?
Community.
Yeah, meet the community. Because from authentication, you get meet the community. So I would say authentication should be the next major thing. So authentication, profile, community. At least for that part of it, because like you said, the project detail page you can work on that anytime.
Hold on, Zach's rewriting here.
I'm just writing my own notes like in Figma. Just copy it and work on my own stuff. So
Okay, so first version, getting profiles, getting about us, moving the core team there, and then doing meet the community. Right? We all agree on that. For like the first thing that we're gonna do next.
Sorry, what?
Next thing that we're gonna do is auth, so that lets you log in, sign up, do your profile setup, and then we'll have the about us page that will move the community core team there, and then we'll also have the meet the community page, which automatically loads from profiles.
Whatever you guys want.
And we can so we can just have this planned out for now, and we can figure out the rest later because this meeting's kind of dragging on.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Anything else we want to chat about now? Projects, post, search. Yeah, I like that, Zach.
Oh, add analytics for 1.1 because we need those early.
You right.
Yep, second that. Things like Google Analytics or Hotjar would be great to have.
All right, the priority list is looking good to me, so I feel like we closing things up pretty soon.
Yep. And yeah, you can delete that, Zach. Wait, 404 will also be in this. Cool. All right, we're good to go, guys.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for coming.
I appreciate your time, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
staying.
Nice talking to you. I was gonna say.
Bye, everyone. Have a great
Bye.
Friday.
Bye. Yeah, you too.
Enjoy your.
Go get drunk, I guess, if you want.
I haven't
I'm not
stopped
endorsing
recording
it,
yet.
but
Or